All right, so it's been about a week since I've had this, and I think I'm finally ready to talk about it. I was a little bit overwhelmed and speechless at first. I'm very excited to tell you guys about this incredible motherboard. You saw it on Tech Update or on Inbox. You know I've been cradling it around. I had to return the original sample I got, but this is the final retail sample of the X58 classified motherboard from EVGA, and this is an incredible motherboard. Very limited amounts of people are going to want this because it is probably the most high-end, over-the-top motherboard I have ever seen, and for good reason. This is going to be for the ultimate overclockers out there, for enthusiasts, and even for a few gamers, but only the most extreme gamers are going to want this. People that have 26 and 30-inch monitors. So you're going to want to do 1920 by 1200 or 2560 by 1600, because if not, you are wasting money by buying this, because the whole point of this is that it has 4 PCI Express X16 slots, and those are our PCI Express 2.0. Absolutely incredible connectivity. The power management for the processor on this, absolutely incredible. This board overclocked further, my 965, than any other motherboard ever, and by a good amount too. And it's not really meant to give you that huge advantage, but it did. It gave me just enough advantage to be like, wow, I can't believe I got an extra 150 megahertz just from switching motherboards. You got this huge Northbridge cooler. I mean, you got support for really fast DDR3. You got a really cool board layout and design, and you have some crazy overclocking features that I have never seen before. And this is literally for the nastiest enthusiasts out there. This board was designed by two of the world's best overclockers for EVGA, and they sure hit it on the head, because this thing is really dope. Now let's get into it. First of all, when you buy this board, you must know that it is extended ATX. It is an eATX board. You will need to have a larger case, so it's a little bit bigger. That's because it's got a lot of good stuff on it. It's the X58 chipset right here under this massive cooler, and it's the ICH-10R Southbridge chipset under this pretty big, massive cooler. That's going to support your hard drives and stuff and all your connectivity. You have 7 SATA ports in total, which pretty much support RAID 0, 1, 0 plus 1, 5, and JBOD, which is really extensive. You have an additional 2 SATA controllers over here to bring the total to 9 on a separate controller. You can use this for your eSATAs or for whatnot. Up to 24 gigabytes of DDR3 right here in these red and black sockets. Triple channel DDR3 up to 2000 megahertz and above, even faster. It's really up to you. It does support 1600 megahertz DDR3 natively, which is absolutely incredible. And let's get to the big point on this board, is all of these slots. How did they get all of these slots with an X58 chipset? Well, it's simple. They added an extra NF200 chip from NVIDIA, the same SLI chips they were using in the Core 2 Duo boards. Well, they added one more, so they get extra PCI Express bandwidth, and that gives you a total of 4 of these, as well as a PCI Express X1 up here at the top, which is incredible because you can actually put a sound card on this motherboard. With all this stuff, this board, when fully loaded, you can do 3 GTX 285s in triple SLI with a dedicated 9800 GT here for physics processing and a sound card. Okay, that's absolutely ridiculous. You can also do 2 GTX 295s with a RAID card or any type of peripheral card, and you can still add more stuff here. Maybe one of those PCI Express based SSDs would fit on here. You have a ton of options. It's absolutely insane. Lots of good stuff. And the best part is if you run all of these populated, you're still going to get great bandwidth. You're going to get X16, X16, X8, X8, which is incredible. You're going to get tons of bandwidth. It's really cool. And of course, you do have this little lonely PCI 2.1 right there. You're probably never going to use it, but it's there if you want to. You also have onboard 7-channel audio. So take a look at here. You have 7 channels of HD audio, or of course, like I said, on this PCI Express X1 right here, you can definitely fit a sound card. Even with this massive Northbridge cooler, it will fit. Lots of good stuff. You have dual gigabit Ethernet ports right there, so great for gaming, teaming technology. It's called AI Net from Asus. Also got some green features in there. It'll actually determine how long your Ethernet cable is and only give it enough power to power it for that length, so you can save some energy there. You got 12 USB 2.0 ports in total. 8 of them are on the back right here and 4 on the inside via header. So you got all those USBs, plus you got FireWire and eSATA. Over here you got SPDIF for both coaxial over here. Actually, coaxial is this one, and the digital one right here, the Toslink. You have a reset CMOS button here as well as on the inside. PS2, and then of course down here your awesome 7.1 channel audio, which has actually got a nice, I think it was a 106 signal to noise ratio. That's great. Great stuff. Now, let's keep going because this is where it gets really crazy. Now I'm going to get into the really more in-depth stuff because there's a lot to talk about. First of all, take a look right up here. Zoom in here a little bit, see if you can. What's different about that? You have 2 8-pin 12-volt connectors. That's incredible. That's going to provide you up to 600 watts of power to your CPU, which is absolutely ridiculous. Now, you might think 600 watts, what uses that? Even a Core i7's in the hundreds. 600 watts is what happens when you add LN2 or liquid helium cascades, dry ice, different stuff like that for extreme overclocking. That's where we're going to use this. It's going to give you the most stable power, up to 600 watts, which is absolutely ridiculous. Now, another thing you're going to notice, look at this hefty cooler. It's not the same as the EVGA X58. It's different. And look at this. All digital, nothing analog on here. So all your power is supplied by a 10-phase digital pulse width modulation system. Absolutely incredible. It has adjustable switching frequencies up to 1333 kilohertz. That's going to give you better power delivery for your nasty overclocks. This socket right here, it's got 3 times the gold of an average socket in it to reduce the impedance of current and to reduce resistance, which is absolutely incredible for those just huge high-level overclocks. I'm talking about 5 gigahertz plus on a Core i7, which is, I'm talking about record-breaking, competition kind of stuff. Those people are going to use this. Let's see, if you look right up here, this is really hard to zoom in, but right up here, see these little points? Those are contact points. This is your ground, and these are contact points for using a multimeter to test your voltages. So literally every voltage that's adjustable on this motherboard in the BIOS has its own read point. So you're seeing QPI, PLL, VTT, VCore, VDIM, ICH, all of them. So if you're testing with a multimeter, you can use these right here, and they're very convenient. I'll tell you another thing. This board, the settings between, let's say, CPU-Z for VCore and what you'd get off a multimeter from here and what's set in the BIOS is almost identical. That means this board is very well calibrated. You almost don't need the multimeter because that's how accurate this stuff is. It's absolutely incredible. Let's keep talking about some other stuff, talk about more about power delivery. Right here, 3-phase power to the memory, which is absolutely incredible. It is, again, digital. There's dual capacitors for every inductor, as well as low RDS ON MOSFETs, which is awesome. You also have some jumpers on here. They're called PCIe disable jumpers. Let's say that you have, down here at the bottom, you have a bunch of graphics cards loaded in. You're doing the 3 GTX 285s, and you have the 9800 GT for dedicated physics processing. Let's say they're liquid cooled, like the hydro coppers from EVGA. What happens if one of them dies or you have a defective one and you need to troubleshoot? Well, I'll tell you what, if you had to pull out your loop and pull out your graphics cards that are liquid cooled, it's a big pain in the butt, especially if you're at a competition or if you're overclocking for fun. So this has little PCIe jumpers that you just pull the jumper out and it'll automatically disable that bus alone, which is absolutely one of the coolest features I've ever seen. It's going to help you go through all this kind of difficult and annoying process of troubleshooting a dead video card really easily by just killing that. Now, on top of that, you get all the regular features. You get tons of cool stuff. You get the EVGA Elite tuning utility for Windows, which actually lets you overclock on the fly from the operating system. You can adjust every single voltage. It's absolutely incredible. You get away with so much as far as overclocking, and it lets you cheat. Yes, that's right, cheating, like increasing the voltage right when you're going to do a hard test on Vantage. You're going to do the CPU test on Vantage. You can increase the voltage, so you get a stable overclock, which is really cool. Another thing I'll show you, check it out, it's a little bit harder to see. Try to get right in here, Producer Dan. Actually, no, let me flip it this way. Check it out. See in there? There's a heatsink. There it is. See it? That's your Northbridge and your VTT MOSFET cooler built in there at the bottom. Very cool. On top of that, I want you to take note that this CPU this Northbridge cooler is not normal. It is ridiculous. It has heat pipes. I mean, geez, you gotta be kidding me. Heat pipes on a Northbridge cooler. Absolutely incredible. It's a massive cooler, as you can see. It's all passive. There's no fans, and that's how they made up for the really big cooler, which is absolutely necessary. So, God, I'll tell you what, guys, I'm absolutely in love with this board. It's got every feature you could possibly imagine. You got solid-state caps, ferrite core chokes, all the good stuff, lower RDS, ON MOSFETs. Down here at the bottom, you got power, reset, clear CMOS. You got an LCD poster for getting error codes, which is absolutely out of control. This thing is too much. And the worst part is that I have to return it. They won't let me keep it. Oh, God, I'm going to cry. So that's it. I'm actually sweating because how hot this motherboard is. Good stuff. The EVGA classified X58, I know that was super cheesy, but whatever. If you have questions on it, don't buy it because it's not for you. This is for people that know what they're doing. So sorry, but that's the truth. Hardcore overclockers, enthusiasts, and extreme gamers, this is your board. If you have any questions, email me. I was just kidding. And I'll see you guys next time. For more information on the EVGA X58 classified motherboard, type in E145-2058 into the search engine of any of these major retailers. For Computer TV, I'm Albert.